welcome to this week's episode of Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Kristina Oakley. I'm filling in for Cynthia DeFazio, and it's my joy to be here in the studio with Kristina 𝐤𝐤𝐿𝐼𝐻 and 𝗏𝐵 of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. Kristina, Rob, I have to tell you, this is such a joy for me. I am such great friends with both Cynthia and Spike, who I know has also been on this show, and this is just a treat for me to get to have this time with you.
It's wonderful to spend the time with you. So looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. What a blessing to be able to serve the folks in Central Kentucky and Kentucky, Anna, and I know that that is your heart and your passion is really providing solid retirement solutions for folks. Retirement done right. Which brings me to some exciting news, is that you were recently featured in Fortune magazine,
yes,
which is so exciting to see, in an article called Retirement Done Right. We have the copy right here, and oh my goodness, it was just really exciting to see you featured in that way and see the response that you're getting from that as well.
Thank you so much. What a great pleasure. I mean, I can't believe that these type of things happen. It's a really big voice. It's a lot of responsibility, but a huge blessing.
Well, and I know that you just, that is your heart, is to put people first and to do right by them. And I'm just excited to dive in today. We're going to be peeling back the curtain on what it means to have a powerful legacy, and specifically having the right strategy in place for retirement. So goodness, there's so many different ways that we could go with this show, but I'm excited to peel back the curtain with you.
This is great.
Well, good. Well, I know that a lot of times you meet with folks who maybe thought they had a strategy in place, or maybe they didn't do any planning, or they don't understand the concept of what it means to have a strategy to go into retirement. So I'd love to start with that and just get your definition when you're talking about having a strategy for retirement, what you're actually meaning by that.
When I think about a strategy, I think about what is the overall composition of what that strategy actually is. And for those of you out there that currently have something in place, does it include all of the following? Taxes, that's going to be a really big topic there. And what about Social Security and the timing of Social Security? Your Medicare supplement. What about inflation? Is that built in? And then as we're having that conversation about overall, do you know that you're not going to outlive your money, or could you?
There's so much that goes into that, and what you're really talking about is engaging in that comprehensive, holistic financial planning process. And Rob, it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces have to fit together, right?
There's a lot of pieces too.
Absolutely. Well, and what are some of the things that really make you unique at Powerful Legacy when you're putting together a strategy for folks?
I think probably the thing that surprises me over and over is going to be just, you know, Kristen, people want to be heard, and I feel like a lot of people are not heard. There's just a big cookie cutter approach out there. Everyone has the same thing, where I feel like everyone's life is completely different, so therefore their retirement is completely different, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely no one-size-fits-all approach with this process.
Absolutely.
Do you find that folks are surprised by some of the questions you might ask them? I know probably they hear, well, no one's ever asked me that before, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, probably the most surprising thing is when we start having the conversations about what kind of retirement that you want. People are surprised to hear that. They just want to talk about the basics, you know, making sure that all the bills are paid. I want to know, what kind of retirement do you want? What does retirement look like for you? What is the next step in your journey?
Well, and you need that information in order to put together a strategy that's going to help people get to where they want to go.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, and I know we've talked about different couples that you meet with, and one of the things I think is so unique is that you were telling me the stats on how many women are actually the financial decision maker in the households that you were serving. So tell me a little more about that.
Yes, I am seeing that the ladies are really taking the lead. I think that that's a pretty normal thing. I know I take the lead in our household.
I do in mine as well.
It's just because I do what I'm told.
Oh, happy wife, happy life, right? That's what my husband likes to say. But no, you have that knowledge and expertise, and that makes sense, right?
Well, and the fun part about it is, when you really break it down, why are the women taking the lead? I think women are more concerned than we've ever been, because we know we're going to live longer. Statistically, we know we're going to live longer. And I think as we're more concerned about retirement, maybe it's because we're trying to fill in some of those gaps that have been there. While you're busy building careers, a lot of times there is a wage gap. And not to say that there's an effort gap, because that's definitely matched on many levels, but also taking care of children through the life. I see a lot of ladies that have dedicated time to children, maybe have a little bit less earnings and therefore less Social Security. So again, just getting that timing between everyone is going to be a really big deal as we have that consult.
Right. There's so much to take into consideration to help folks be on track for retirement. And Rob, I know that that is something that you all are so focused on, is helping people get on track, no matter where they might be in their own financial stage of life.
It is. We try to look at the what ifs too. What if inflation keeps going up? What if taxes go up to another 4 or 5% on people? What if those interest rates continue to rise into double digits? I mean, it's very likely that they're going to get into double digits. What are you going to do if that happens? We already see right now that credit card debt is higher than any other time that we've ever noticed. And what you look at is they're increasing their credit card limits right now too. So what is that going to tell you? People are going to get out of hand really quick.
Absolutely. Well, and especially because the modern retiree is facing so many more challenges that previous generations didn't have to face. And as you alluded to, we're living longer than anyone ever has in previous generations. This is new territory.
Absolutely. I think that it's so fun to listen. I'm always fascinated about how people talk about their parents and their grandparents' retirement, and then they try to associate themselves with it. But you're right. I mean, it's completely different. I know retirement today doesn't look anything like it did even just a few years ago before COVID. People are more concerned about probably taxes, inflation, and volatility of the market than they've ever been.
For sure, because all you have to do is go to the grocery store and it's staring you right in the face, right?
Absolutely. Well, everything's inflated. You think about this, you know, here in Kentucky, we've had all of these horrific storms. And so we've had tornadoes, floods, all this nonsense that has caused the insurance rates to go through the roof. Just like most of the rest of the nation, all the property values have really inflated. So taxes are inflating.
Absolutely.
And then what is that pain at the grocery store? You know, we have 3 boys and
I can't imagine.
it is so expensive to feed them. Goodness gracious, it's so much money. And everybody had that conversation about eggs back in the day, just like during COVID, it was toilet paper and how it was inflated. So what is that next thing? What I never want to see is someone that has to make a choice between keeping warm in the winter or cool in the summer and a medication.
Right.
That can happen sometimes.
Yes. No, and you're trying to prevent that. And I love how proactive you are in helping people figure out a strategy so that that doesn't become an important decision they have to make.
I think you're going to see too, over the time, we've gotten to a society that eats out a lot more than we used to. I think you're going to start seeing people cook at home a little bit more and save that money there.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, I know that you are on the pulse of what your clients need, and I know you've gotten to help so many folks. Is there a recent story that comes to mind of someone that you were able to navigate this strategy successfully for?
Well, I think that one of the best things we can say as far as just beginning a strategy, I'm actually seeing more younger folks. So it brings to mind, I've got a gentleman that he's just 58 years old, and we did have to retire him, not really because he wanted to, but just with a little bit of quick math, 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, he had been in a factory for 40 years and he's only 58 years old. So his body was just completely broke down, had had knee surgery, hip surgery, back surgery, carpal tunnel surgery. He's not a machine, so he simply could not work anymore, but wasn't not well enough to have some type of disability. So because of that, we had to bridge that gap from 58 up to 62 early Social Security with part of his 401k. And I'm seeing more and more of this. You know, your retirement earnings are completely on you. You've been the one saving for that. These defined contribution plans instead of defined benefits. So things are shifting quite a bit. What do we need to do to stay ahead of that?
Absolutely. That's a great story. And I think, you know, I know people, if they want to continue working, that's one thing, but we don't want you to have to continue working if it's not feasible, as it was the case for him.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like anytime that we're discussing retiring early, I think that you still have to have that longevity conversation, because just because you retire early because you're not well now doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have an amazing long life. So it's pretty awesome just trying to put all those pieces together. Again, it is like a puzzle. I agree.
It is, for sure. Well, I know that, again, you are so passionate about helping folks get on track, be on track, to be able to live the retirement of their dreams, and that's what you build a strategy around. And before we go to commercial break, I'd love for you to share what will happen if folks call the number today to want to get connected with you and get on track for their retirement.
Yes, folks, we would like to spend some time with you. We would like to offer a consultation. This is complimentary. If you do give a call to that number on the screen, that 877-893-5099, or take out your phone, click on that QR code there. It's very easy, very simple process, just like looking at a menu when you're at the restaurant. And jump in there. You're going to get into our calendar and set an appointment for a complimentary consultation. For some of you, this will be a second opinion, and that's okay. So please take advantage of that. We'd love to see you, see what we can do. When you're concerned about taxes, Social Security timing, inflation, volatility of the market, all those items, let's sit down and have that conversation.
Kristina, Rob, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, again, that number to call is on the bottom of your screen, 877-893-5099, or you can click that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to connect with Kristina and Rob and the amazing team at Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. We have so much more to cover in today's show. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Kristina 𝐵𝐸𝐿𝐼𝐻 and Rob 𝐵𝐸𝐿𝐼𝐻. And again, it's just a joy to be with you and getting to serve Central Kentucky and Kentuckiana. And we appreciate all of you who are watching out there today. You know, one of the things I find is really unique about your practice is you have been working with certain clients for over a decade.
Yes.
So talk to me about that relationship, because clearly I'm sure that some of these people have become like friends, right?
Well, some of them are my dearest friends and also family. I mean, I think that they become more like family after that amount of time.
Yes, right?
But I do have a dear friend. She knows exactly who she is, and she's probably watching right this moment. She's just basically my #1 fan, but I've been taking care of her for such a long time, and just getting that satisfaction. I do hear a lot of professionals that will say, I don't work with my family and I don't work with my friends because I don't want to have any type of animosity in any way. I want to work with my family and friends. That's what I do every day. That's like, you know, being a plumber, but you don't want to go and fix a pipe for your family member. That's not it at all. So we definitely want to work with our family and friends, and we do. And also, when I think about these clients that have been long-term and how they are family, it also makes me think about, what about when they're not here anymore? We spend time with their families. We go to their funerals and visitations. I mean, this is very serious that you have that lifelong relationship.
Yes, you're a very important part of people's lives. And I know, Rob, you come from an extensive corporate background, but as you've made this transition to working for Powerful Legacy, and I know you've carried some of those relationships from your past into the present, right?
I did, yeah. I worked for a wonderful company, had some great friends, or have some great friends there. And one of the things that was really interesting when we talked to those folks, or when I watched them throughout the years as they got closer to retirement, they started seeing their 401ks bounce up, bounce down, they'd freak out, they'd get looking at weekly, daily basis, and they were just getting so tense on a regular basis. So we were able to do some things for them that maybe set their mind at ease. They know they have some lifetime income and they don't have to worry about it.
So talk to me about some of those strategies, because I think a lot of folks, you know, if you turn on the news today, it's very easy to get freaked out with today's economic landscape. And of course, you know, the media frenzy tends to feed on that fear. So when they were freaking out about their 401k balances going up and down, what were some of the things you were able to employ to help give that peace of mind?
Sure. They went into an indexed annuity with us on some of their money, and it's a guaranteed stream of income until they die. Now, it could go higher, but the one thing that's really good about it is it doesn't go below zero. And that's where I rolled my retirement over to, because I'm a very conservative person. I do not like to lose. I don't like to lose money. I don't like to lose games. I don't like to lose at anything. And when I look at that, it was the perfect product for me.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I know you talk about how you help engage in some safe money strategies for folks as well as part of that overall strategy. That's what you're alluding to, right?
Yeah, when we're talking about that, again, it's not for everybody. You do not put everything in one basket. That's not exactly what it is for every single person. But we do want to have that safe money bucket where it's going to produce an income that you know exactly what you're going to have, that's going to cover all of those regulatory needs. You know, taxes are going to continue to go up. I'm sure cost of living will continue to go up. And it makes me think about, you know, let's bounce back to the grandparents' retirement. And folks, when you do come in, you're going to get a complimentary copy of the retirement train. I open up chit-chatting a little bit about my grandparents. I learned so much from them continually. Lost my grandfather last year, so when I think about their retirement and about their childhood, I love this story. My grandfather would tell me that he could go to the movies with a quarter, and the movie ticket, some popcorn, and a soda was there. There was still a nickel left over for an ice cream cone. I'm like, what? How is this even possible?
A different world entirely, right?
Yes, completely different. I mean, there's just no way that that would even happen now. And I tell a story to my kids that there used to be a little place that we would walk to and get these penny candies. They don't believe me that you could get something for a penny. So the world is just completely different. Everything's so expensive. And I mean, who'd have thought you'd pay $10 for a milkshake at certain places?
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, we were looking up the house that I was raised in Danville, Kentucky, and I reached out to my parents and said, "What address is this?" So I was going to take Kristina by it and show her.
Right.
And they said, "We found it on Zillow. It's $179,000 now." And I heard Dad in the background that said, "We only paid $21,000 for it back in the early '70s."
Yes, isn't that amazing? I know everything's inflated, as you said before, for
It
sure.
is.
Well, I know one of the things the article talked about, which was really touching, and it speaks to the fact that you really treat those that you work with like family, is that you're willing to take that call at 3 a.m. I'm sure it's you know, if there's an emergency, of course, you're one of the first people that your clients called. Absolutely. Well, and I even saw it today. So before the show started, you were even having a conversation with someone that needed to speak with you, right?
I was, yes. And we have had a phone call one time that they actually called me before they called the coroner. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's just that level of faith, and what an amazing blessing to be able to serve them, that they would trust us so much that they would call us before the actual coroner. I mean, that's a really big deal.
Yeah,
and
that is huge.
I don't think there's any greater pride than taking care of other people.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think people should expect when they are working with a financial professional? What are some of the pillars that you're like, this is a non-negotiable, this is the way we need to be interacting and engaging with folks?
Yeah, so we can set it up from the first time they come into our office. We're very clean people, so you see that. It's just really fresh when you come into our office. The dogs, Zeus, greets you. But we look at everything, and we want to look at everything. And one of the comments that we get in our office is that we just take time to go over everything, explain everything, and what we can do for people from an overall holistic aspect. They're blown away by it. I mean, absolutely. We get this all the time. Matter of fact, last week we had a gentleman in there, and that he couldn't say that enough.
He was just blown away because probably no one had ever taken the time, right, to go through all these different things.
Everybody just went after the money.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't look at it. It's their money. It's not ours.
Right.
So we look at everything from healthcare, Medicare. I mean, we take the whole package into play and help them out. And sometimes we have to guide their family through some of these decisions too, because they may not agree with it.
For sure. Well, if someone's watching today and they want this peace of mind, they want to have someone look at all the pieces of the puzzle, they want to get on track for their retirement, what would you say to them?
So I do know that sometimes when people are going into, let's just call it a big box firm, you know, like the Walmart of financial advisors out there, I know sometimes what you're expecting is just for someone to manage your funds, and that's fine. But in retirement, you actually need everything. We need to have that conversation, number one, about Social Security and what's the timing of Social Security. For most of you folks out there, that's 36 to 40% of your retirement income. That's a really big deal that we get this timing right. And sitting down having that conversation, I had someone say to me, they came in for a consultation and said, "Well, you don't make any money off my Social Security. Why are you even talking about this?" Well, because I've seen some really big mistakes. Let me give you a quick example. I've got a gentleman that his big box firm told him to take his Social Security at 62 years old. Well, he's making over $200,000 a year. Because of the excess earnings limit, he wouldn't even have Social Security, plus he's locking in that benefit at a lower amount. That's a really big mistake. And just that very, again, cookie cutter type of information, that's not what people need in retirement. They need that full, holistic, very personal approach, making sure that everything is what's best for them, what's best for you, not what's just a cookie cutter.
Absolutely. Well, Kristina, Rob, I know you're so excited to get to meet with more folks that are going to call in from the show. And just to give you peace of mind, you won't interrupt the show when you call that number on the bottom of your screen. This is simply an invitation to have a conversation with Rob and Kristina and the team at Powerful Legacy. All you have to do is pick up the number, or pick up your phone, call that number on the bottom, 877-893-5099. In addition, as Kristina mentioned, you'll get a complimentary copy of her book, The Retirement Train. We have more. When we come back, we're going to be diving into some viewer questions questions. Who knows, we might answer yours. Stay with us.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Kristina 𝐵𝐾𝐿𝐼 and 𝗏𝐵𝐾𝐿𝐼. And gosh, so much great information we've been covering today. Such a joy to be with you. I mentioned before the break we were going to ask and answer some of the viewer questions that have come in from the show. So I'm excited to dive into those with you. Are you ready?
This is my favorite part.
Oh, I love it, right?
Yes.
All right, so the first question that came in, someone said, I have an advisor, but may I come in for a second set of eyes on my current strategy? So Rob, what would you say to that?
I would not only say yes, but I would recommend it. As we've said earlier, we do a lot more than other firms do. And we take an approach, we look at everything that you have and anything that you want to bring to the table. So our service, our ability to listen, our ability to put together a package that's right for you. What does it hurt? It's not free, it costs something, right? Free is on our time, so we're gifting that to you. So come and take that gift from our time.
Mm-hmm. And that second set opinion, if I can just follow up with a question of my own, if someone comes in for a second opinion and everything really legitimately looks like it's on track, how does the conversation unfold then?
Then we just let them know that everything looks great. It really is that simple.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, they're actually coming in for a second opinion because they think that something's missing or they just want reassurance. So it's one of the two. I'm going to find, is there something missing? If there is something missing, we'll let you know. And if everything is great, you just want that reassurance, we're going to give you that as well. And when I think about that, it makes me think a lot of people will say, I'm afraid I'm going to be sold something. No, we're not even taking on new clients this week, so we want to make sure that we're just giving you the information that you deserve. You're not going to be sold anything.
So I'll elaborate on that a little bit. We did have somebody come in, and he's sitting in the lobby. I was talking to he and his wife, and he had a plan. He was fine with it, but he wanted that second opinion. And he said, well, I want to see what she has to say. If anything's wrong with this, and there are a couple things. And I said, well, one thing, she'll be honest with you. She will look you in the eye and she'll tell you if you're on track or if you're not. So they sat in there and they went over everything. He said, there's one thing I'm not sure about, and this is one specific annuity. And she looked at him and said, that's one of the better things you have in your portfolio. And then he wanted to add more money to it and wanted her to do it. And she looked him straight in the eye and said, no, your person has been doing a really good job for you. You need to go back to that person and have them do it.
Wow, what a distinction from what we tend to find in this industry. And I love that that's just one of the many wonderful things that sets you all apart. What a great story. Thank you for sharing that, Rob. Our next viewer question, this one was to Kristina and Rob. You've been doing this show for several years. How has the retirement outlook changed? I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but let's elaborate on that for folks.
Oh my gosh, I think about this. We started our television show well before COVID. So I think about what the world looked like before COVID and then to now. But just the past few years, things have changed. People are more concerned about taxes, volatility of the market, their health. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're not going to outlive your money or let your entire strategy just completely be destroyed because of a health situation. Well, let's take a look even farther backward. Retirement savings overall are changing. It's more of that defined contribution. Most of this is on you. You are the one saving inside of your 401ks, 403bs, 457s, or TSPs, TSAs, instead of having those pensions. The pensions are few and far between. A lot of times they're just with the government. So we have to talk about all of those aspects and make sure that you're going to be saving for the retirement that you want, not just enjoying spending the retirement that you want.
Right, exactly. It's making that money last, right?
Yes.
For sure. Well, I want to ask a couple of questions of my own, if I may, real quick. I know at the
Please
beginning
do.
of the show, we talked
Yes.
about this awesome article that came out recently about you all in Fortune magazine, and two things stood out to me that I had not seen before. One is that you do these appreciation events for people, and you bring a shredder. I think this is awesome. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we're very blessed, and for things to do with people that we are friendly with, and our clients, we're friendly with all of our clients. We want to be able to do something for everyone. So we'll bring a shredder into the office. We'll have a food truck out doing grilled cheese sandwiches. It's nothing major, but it's something for us all to get together and just have a little fun. We've even had some relationships built upon it. And there's two people now that they go out and ride motorcycles on a frequent basis. It's fun to watch people come together, and a lot of those folks are just like-minded people.
That's awesome, and I love that you provide the place to shred all that, sensitive financial information that's got to go, right?
And we do this right after tax day. And I mean, the
that's
food
so
truck thing is
smart.
just because I love to eat, Kristen. I mean, I'm already thinking about what am I eating next year. I mean, I love it. And I mean, having the food trucks out there, it's just a fun way. I think that food, fellowship, and fun always do go hand in hand. So when we're taking care of that mundane, it gives someone an opportunity to clean out all their old documents that they don't need, get those shredded, make sure and protect their information, obviously. So that's what we're really after. But a lot of clients, they'll make comments like, "Oh, I just saw you at the client appreciation event." I'm like, no, that's not an annual meeting. That's not your review. That's not what we're talking about. So
That
get
was
back
the
in
fun
here.
portion, right?
Yes, we're just having a good time.
That's awesome. Well, and the last point I wanted to highlight was that one of the pillars of your business is prayerful decision making, and that really stood out to me because having been in this industry for over a decade, that's not something that you hear people talk about a lot, but you do.
It is not, yes, and thank heaven my boss will not fire me for saying that, isn't it great? Or it's mine. That's one thing that I think removes us from that corporate environment. It's great.
It is.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and spending time with all of us and our viewers. We thank you for being here this week. Again, we encourage you, pick up the phone, call that number on the bottom of your screen to come in and get your complimentary review to see if you're on track to reach your retirement, 877-893-5099. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we'll see you next week.